Good evening. Welcome to the Marguerite Mays Middle School Town Hall, located here in Hollister, California. My name is Diana Herbst, and I'm going to take my mask off just briefly. Again, my name is Diana Herbst, and I'm the principal here at Mays Middle School. And I have two assistant principals. One assistant principal, her name is Anissa Dizan, and she is not in attendance this evening. But she is part of our Mays team. My other assistant principal, I will have her introduce herself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Emma Veltri, assistant principal at Mays Middle School.
And then I have two teachers here.
My name is Luis Espinosa. I teach ELD, ELA for Mays Middle School. It is my 5th year.
And I'm Jason Higgins. I teach 8th grade Avid and 8th grade English at Marguerite Mays, starting my 24th year.
Wow.
Next week.
We want to thank you for joining us this evening, and you can see on the bottom of your screen there is a phone number that you can call if you have questions that we do not address during this discussion. And I do want to thank the parents that did send questions regarding Mays, and we will answer those questions this evening. So I will go ahead and get started because we do have a few questions regarding schedules and textbook distribution and supplies. And so today we did have a textbook and supply pickup, and I hope most of you were able to come pick up the supplies and schedules for your students. We will actually have another one tomorrow, Friday the 14th. 6th grade, if you have a 6th grader, you can pick up textbooks and their schedule between 12 and 1. 7th grade between 1 and 2, and 8th grade between 2 and 3. If you do not have a Chromebook, you can also pick up a Chromebook from the main office. All textbooks and schedules will be picked up in the library. I think that does address two questions that we did have regarding schedules.
We also we'll also give out a list of Google Classroom codes for each teacher, so they can be ready for Monday, in addition to emails that you'll receive with that information.
Yes, teachers are going to be emailing your students, so make sure that they are checking their emails frequently. You can also find their schedule on Infinite Campus if you don't get a hard copy. So make sure that students are checking their emails to get Google Classroom codes and communication with their teachers.
I'll take the next question. Sure. Okay. So the question says, I am wondering when, well, let's see. Oh, the second question. With this new waiver and the possibility of a return to school in November, depending on how things look in October, when will we return? Well, that's a great question, and I'm sure that's a question we're all asking about this time of year. So there's a couple of dates that we really want to remember. The first date is October 13th, and so that's the date that our Board of Trustees will be meeting, and they'll make that determination whether we will return in January. We know for sure we will be on distance learning through November 9th, okay? And it's all dependent on definitely, obviously the watch list. So at the moment, we're on the San Benito County watch list, and according to state guidelines, we need to be off that watch list for a certain amount of days, and then that will kick us into that determination of whether we return or not.
So just keep watching board meetings and know what's going on at your school district. The next question, I will have my two teachers answer. Will the students be online for the entire distance learning school days? And the answer is yes, but I do want them to address that question.
For me, for my students, what I expect is I will be doing online teaching, and there will be a certain time where they will be independent practice. And so during that time, I think all of us as teachers would like to have them, their cameras on, working on what they need to. And then I would let them know in about 5 minutes before the class ends or 10 minutes before the class ends, there's an exit ticket that I want you to go through, and just to show me that checking for an understanding and making sure that they understand that it's a bell-to-bell teaching lesson. So, Jason.
Right, yeah, and then the key is that they're engaged through the entire time. So it'll look it won't actually look that much different than a normal school day. Like as they come into Google Classroom, I'll have a Google Doc. I was just preparing it today, for example, and it has the daily objective, and it has what materials they need, which is going to be what tabs they need to open essentially in Google Classroom. So they can have all that ready while we do good things from capturing kids' hearts, which is how we normally start class. They'll do some sort of warm-up, a transition, a quick write, something like that to prepare for the learning for the day. Then we'll have, we'll be doing our reading or whatever input, typically reading because it's an English class. And they'll have their independent work time. And that's the time when I would normally be walking around, checking in with them, reading their work, asking them questions about it. When they would normally be sharing out with a partner or things like that, which we'll have to figure out ways for them to do. These are times where we want them engaged, so we will want their cameras on. And then they'll be coming back, like Luis said, with some sort of exit ticket, some sort of closure, quick questions, things like that. And also we want them to be able to ask questions during independent work if they don't understand what they're doing.
Like using the chats. There's a tool where they can go ahead and chat with us during that time. It's like Jason said, like we normally we would walk around the classroom during this independent practice and to check up on students. And so one of the biggest things is that tool that Google Meets has is chatting with them, and they can ask their questions or they can raise their hands and we'll answer their questions through that.
Good. Can you, Jason or Luis, can you touch on how you have set up your learning or your teaching environment? I know Luis is going to be in his actual classroom.
Yes.
You're going to set up a classroom at home. What will that look like?
Mine is a lot of books. That was the idea behind me, was I wanted to have a lot of different books behind me. That was the main thing. And then I have like other things that I can use, like a whiteboard or things like that, where we can where kids can look for if there's certain directions they need for certain assignments or things like that. But it wasn't that difficult to set up a space like that necessarily, because for English it's a really good, just put hundreds of books behind me as well. But that was the main thing. And then you have a lot of tools that you can use at home, like a whiteboard, and trying to get creative with things like that. I'm looking at the idea of possibly getting like an easel with butcher paper and things like that, but I like the look of a whiteboard better. So it's just making decisions like that, the same decisions you make in a classroom, except in a smaller space, that's all.
So just keeping that in mind, when your child is at home and they are online for most of the day, just having an environment that is conducive to their learning. So there are many ways to do that. Do you guys have anything else you want to?
There's a bunch of apps that we're looking into as teachers, like the whiteboard. There's the one that Google has that we can go ahead and see what our students are doing with the whiteboard if we're using whiteboards. And so I think one of the greatest things during our PDs is that we were able to look through those and through our trainings as well, find different apps that will help us to teach. Use very different tools through technology, so and also try to engage our students in our teaching. So
I think that goes without saying with the our professional development this week. It was all about student engagement, and our Maze teachers are really great at doing that with our students, and now they're transferring that to online. So there are a lot of apps, a lot of things that they can do in their classroom to make it more engaging with students, the use of video and recording voice and slides and so forth. So we're looking for a dynamic and engaging year with the distance learning. And it's new for all of us. We're all first-year teachers here, so even 26 years, but it's first year, so yeah.
27 years. And
That's right. That's right.
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna go to question number 1. Will there be school pictures taken of the students this school year? So if we are able to be back on campus and practice safe social distancing, we will schedule pictures. But until then, we won't be taking pictures in the fall. So hopefully we'll have the spring pictures.
Right.
One more question that I wanted to answer was, how often will parents, will this, about attendance?
It was if your child has an appointment.
Yes, if your child has a dentist or doctor's appointment already scheduled for next week, how do I have her excused from class for the appointment? So you would just simply call the main office and report the absence, just as you would if the student was actually on campus. So if they do have an appointment, call, let our office manager know that they're going to be absent, and that's all you need to do.
In class, they would, in the chat, they would probably need to say, either maybe ahead of time, even just say, have an appointment at 11:30, you know. Yeah, basically, it's gotta go through the office first, just like normal.
And then also a reminder that the first 2 weeks of school will be minimum days, so they'll be following the Wednesday schedule. Another reminder is that all of May's will begin at the same time, so we will be beginning at 9:15. But the Wednesday schedule has us beginning at 9 o'clock.
Right.
So we will begin at 9 o'clock for the first 2 weeks.
So if you came to pick up supplies today, or you're coming tomorrow, we'll give you a new schedule. We did have to change our schedule due to just some conflicts with some classes. So all of May's will begin at 9:15 and end at 2:45. And then again on Wednesdays, like Emma said, we will begin at 9 and end at 1:45. So that's the biggest change that we have at May's is with this schedule.
I'll be updating the website, so you can look at the, on the May's website, and we'll have the schedule posted there. And in addition, if you find us on Instagram, May's Hawks, please follow us there. We'll be adding posts to that with information that you may need.
What are their social media?
We do have a Facebook page. Our PTO has a Facebook page.
And Twitter.
Oh, yes, we do have Twitter.
That's
We're
right.
on all.
Forgot about Twitter.
We're on all, so
And you can
yeah.
always subscribe to the district's YouTube.
That's right,
All right.
District's YouTube.
District's YouTube.
That's right.
Wave,
Yes.
14.
Yes, and we've also been, the assistant principals in our district have been making how-to videos, tutorial videos, so please check those out. And just basic things like checking grades on IC, creating a great learning environment in your home, so lots of good things there for you to support our families in
Right.
HSC.
Also, those who aren't tech savvy, I know a lot of our teachers are making tutorials themselves in their classrooms to like how to split screen, how to go to a different tab, how to close down an app and open another.
Yeah.
So again, if some of your students don't know how to use a computer, but I guess they know how to use the phone, they should be able to know how to use the tabs on the computer and closing the split screening and stuff like that. So we'll
Yeah.
teach them how to do that as well on our classrooms. If some of us have put them up on that already.
Right. And just so you know, if you do have additional questions, please call May's Middle School and ask for an administrator, and we will be more than happy to help you with whatever you need. I do want Jason and Louise to talk a little bit about the Capturing Kids' Hearts and how May's is a PBIS school.
Both PBIS.
Well, with PBIS, it's one of the I think one of proactive program that includes all our students, gives it equity in the way where how we treat our kids, building that relationship with our students, building that trust. Even though with social distancing and the distance learning, I think we're still able to go ahead and build those expectations that we had last year and build on them this year. I think it's changed our school culture from the years past to this year of how positive it's been since we've come back to school as even though it's distance learning. And so using the PBIS expectations, like you see this plaque here, Hop Pride, is one of the placards that we've used to support our staff and just certain things that we've done with PBIS.
Right, I can't wait for the kids to come back and see the bathrooms.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
We-
that was something that
Yeah.
a couple of our teachers and myself did over the summer. Just bring positive quotes to our students. Most of our students, during break, they go straight to the restrooms. And one of the things that we did is we beautified our bathroom stalls, especially for the girls and the boys. And they have these quotes on there. If you look on our website, the Facebook website, and also the Hawks Instagram, you'll see those quotes on there.
Right, that was a great project that Luis led and helped paint, as well as two of our teachers who retired this past school year. Yep.
Okay, and Capturing Kids' Hearts is the same sort of idea in that it's meant to be a program that brings positive relationships to the school between students, between staff and students, and with everyone who works on a campus or comes on the campus and the students. And so even though there may be a couple of things like we won't be able to greet people at the door and shake every hand like we normally do, but we can greet them as they come into Google Meets. So it's easy to say, well, some of that won't be there. Luis and I won't be out there with a few other teachers having lunch on the green on
Yes.
Fridays, watching student activities with the kids and eating our lunch. But there are plenty of things we can do. We'll still do good things.
Good things.
We'll be doing good things at the beginning of every period, sharing our own, asking the kids to talk about what's good in their life. We'll be talking about social contracts. Schools have rules and consequences, but we like to start with a social contract that talks about how do we treat each other. It's not always about how we act and what our consequences. It's more like how do we treat each other? How do we make this a good working environment? So these are really important things. Also, various sorts of emotional check-ins. We're going to have to be emotional wellness. We're going to have to be looking for these, and it's a little bit harder over a Google Meet than it is physically. But these are all important parts of capturing kids' hearts that we'll still be doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Are there any questions coming in?
I have a question.
Okay.
What is it that you as educators, because if you add it all up, you're close to 70 years of experience, 80 years of experience.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, yeah.
What's the thing that makes you say, I'm excited about this for 2021? Because we've never had a year like this.
Right.
So what's the one thing that you've been able to pull out and say, I am looking forward to this piece of 2021?
So I'll start. I want to say I'm excited about the new school year, but I'm also very passionate about this school year. It's going to be so different for me. I'm learning a lot about the different programs and technology and different apps and the Google platform. So I'm learning as well as everyone else. So for me, I'm excited to learn more about what I'm capable of and not be afraid of trying new things. I'm excited to see my teachers grow as educators and try new things as well. And I'm still passionate about what I do. I wouldn't be in education if I wasn't. So that's how I'm feeling right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think about it as what it means to me in education is it's as educators, we're problem solvers. We are always looking for solutions. How do we best help our students? How do we make them succeed? And then here we are given this unique opportunity to kind of be innovative and creative in ways that we've never been. And our teachers are up for the task. They are doing it. I mean, at the end of distance learning last year, some of these slideshows and activities and apps that they came up with were pretty amazing. And I think as educators, we are given a task and we do it. And we always keep our students, first and foremost. And I think that's what's exciting about this year, is that we're seeing it from a different lens, but it's still the same.
I think as an educator, one of the exciting things is you're going into the unknown. This is all new to us.
Yeah.
And so, I'm excited about the new challenges that are about to occur. Because I love learning. I love getting to know new things. And then it also brings back to the meaning of a new meaning to the PLCs. Collaborating with cross-curricular. I mean, teaching ELD and ELA, I get to talk to Jason on virtual meetings. I got to meet up with a couple teachers from Rancho and trying to collaborate and build a program that is suitable for our students. And so just being able to collaborate is an exciting new thing for me as an educator to try to learn more from my colleagues.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknown and known. Like, it's easy to talk about the unknowns. It's easy to make it a viral video and there's questions above you like TikTok and they say, when do you go back to school? I don't know. What's grade gonna look like? I don't know. But what I do know is that, like, I have a job and I tell them this the first day of school, like, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to help you get to a job someday that you can't wait to go to. I say, how many of your parents have a job they get up and can't wait to go to every day? Not that many. Like, I wanna go to work every day. And we go work with people who believe that relationships are the way that you get to students. We build relationships to get to the rigor and the relevance, right? We start with relationship building. And so that's where it starts. It starts with our passion that we bring. And we may not be, we're gonna do it in a very different way this year, but at least to start with. But that's the main thing. It's just that it doesn't change the fact that I can't wait to go to work in the morning.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jason,
Yes.
for throwing that rigor and relevance out there.
3 hours.
3 hours.
That's right, the
3
3
hours.
hours. That's Mace.
That's Mace Hawks, Hawk Pride.
That's right.
But it's true that the building the relationship is key, especially with this distance learning. Building that relationship with our students, even though it's virtual, we as teachers, I think that's why one of the reasons I wanted to be a teacher is that I be that role model for that student, even though it is through a screen, but letting them know, like, hey, we're going through the same thing you are. We're going through the same thing you are, and just know that you have a safe place here with us in this virtual classroom.
Absolutely.
So.
Right. And as administrators this year, we're just thinking about how can we support our teachers and how can we support our families in this?
Right.
And so, as a team, we've been just brainstorming ways, how do we reach out to families? How do we make sure our teachers
Are okay.
Because, it's all about social emotional well-being here.
Right, for everybody.
Yes,
For everybody.
exactly. So,
And I feel like the kids really need it. I think students need this really badly. Like, I don't know. I know I need it badly, but I think students need it really badly after 5 months or
5
so.
months.
I think they really need
Yeah.
something, even if it's not what they're used to. They need something to come back to and give them both structure, but also those relationships.
That's right. That's our goal. Our goal is that we want students to want to be online, to want to see their peers and.
So one of the things, like, I remember when we first left, like, the kids were all happy to leave, but now, but the thing is, like, now, but seeing them coming and picking up their books and picking up their Chromebooks,
Yeah.
it's like they were excited to come back.
That's right.
And it's like, that is awesome to see.
They were so
Yeah.
excited
Yeah.
today.
That's right. I was
So
called out
excited.
in Target the other day, Mrs. Beltry, and I thought, I don't think when I was in middle school, I would search out my vice principal. Hey! And I'm like, wow, that made my day.
Exactly. But it's great to be back.
Yeah,
It's great to have you guys.
yes. Yep, all right.
Any
Wrap
other
her up.
questions?
Wrap her up.
Okay.
Thank you
Well,
very much.
thank you for joining us this evening, and again, textbook distribution tomorrow at Mays Middle School, 6th grade 12 to 1, 7th grade 1 to 2, and 8th grade 2 to 3. Hope to see you there. You can also pick up your schedules, or you can get your schedules off of Infinite Campus.
Yep.
Have a great evening, great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
May's Pride.
Hi, good evening. Welcome to HDLA and Gavilan Hills Town Hall. My name is Monique Reese, and I am the principal of both schools, and I'm here with some other special community members that will introduce themselves. Let's say that in Spanish again before I let you guys start. Hola, buenas tardes. Soy Monique Ruiz, la directora de las escuelas Gavilan Hills y HDLA. Estoy contenta de estar aquí para esta junta virtual. Voy a dejar mis colegas aquí a hacer las introducciones.
Hello, good evening. My name is Silvia Solis, and I'm the assistant principal, one of the assistant principals for HDLA and Gavilan Hills. Muy buenas tardes a todos. Nos da gusto estar aquí. Yo soy la señora Solis, subdirectora de la escuela Gavilan Hills y HDLA.
I'm Stephanie Soboslawski. I am a reading intervention teacher. I work with primarily kindergarten through 5th grade with my amazing partner, Yolanda Parra.
Hi, my name is Frida, and I am going to 5th grade, and I go to Gavilan Hills. Hi, my name is Ishim, and I'm in 5th grade, and I'm in HDLA.
Hi, my name is Ms. LeMay, Betsy LeMay, and I am a teacher at HDLA. I've been on the campus for 19 years and a teacher at HDLA for 7 years, teaching 1st grade.
Thank you. We have so much in store for our students. We're so excited to see you all virtually on Monday. We know it's been a long wait with many questions, and we're here to answer a few tonight, as well as give you some information that will be helpful, hopefully, in your, set your minds at ease as we go forward in our school year. Did you want to translate for me, or shall I do it? Or shall I?
Estamos muy emocionados de estar aquí hoy y darles la bienvenida, explicarles un poco y sobre lo que va a ser el comienzo de la escuela y a la misma vez contestar cualquier pregunta que tengan para que ustedes estén un poco más tranquilos y se sientan listos para el primer día de clases.
To start with, tomorrow we have our materials distribution for TK through 5th grade. The hours are varied in order to try to give you a little bit more time to in the line so we can move everyone through pretty quickly. The first group from 9 to 11 will be for TK through 2nd. From 11 to 1, we'll have our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades, and anyone with multiple children who would like to come at the end from 1 to 3, you can pick up your materials then. Here is an example of one of the packets from TK, and we will be having different things in different grade levels. All the children in each grade level will receive the same material, as well as textbooks and other books. I would tell you, we don't have all of our materials at hand. The deliveries haven't all arrived, so there will be another pickup, and we will let you know as soon as that's ready. That will be in the next couple weeks, I think.
Don't the bags have letters in them?
Yes, thank you for reminding me. We have in the bags, there will be a letter from your child's teacher with information on contacting them, as well, their email, and as well as the Google code that they'll need for their classroom. We will also have, we have already sent several things through email and text with links to email so that you can stay informed of everything we have for you. We'll have a video lessons for on various aspects of virtual learning. We have a brand new, just off the press, how to log into your child's Google Classroom for the first time. It's a step-by-step. That's a video, or excuse me, a link that will be sent to you shortly. Mrs. Solis worked very hard on it, and it's a great help.
Thank you. I'm going to translate before we get too far here. Okay. So, primeramente queremos decirles que mañana viernes es el día para que pasen a recoger todos los materiales escolares de los alumnos. Tendremos el horario para los niños de TK a 2º grado de 9 a 11 de la mañana. 3er y 4º grado de 11 a 1 de la mañana, y de 1 a 3 será de cualquier grado, los padres que tengan alumnos en diferentes grados o que no puedan ir en la mañana. Ahí todos recibirán esta bolsa con todos los materiales escolares para su alumno. Incluidos estarán los códigos para los alumnos de TK a 2º que puedan entrar. Y vendrán con una carta escrita por sus maestros con información de cómo contactarlos. Incluyen los códigos para poder entrar al salón de Google, al igual de cómo contactar a sus maestros. Todo esto estará incluido mañana. Estamos trabajando para tener toda la información que podamos para ustedes, incluyendo videos de tutoriales de varios temas. Uno de ellos es cómo iniciar el primer día de clases. ¿Cómo pueden ustedes meterse a la computadora para iniciar las clases el primer día? Entonces se les mandará un documento como este que tiene paso a paso desde cómo encender su computadora hasta cómo entrar al salón de Google. Al igual que habrá videos que se les mandarán y estarán en nuestra página de web de cómo hacerlo paso a paso por medio de la computadora o verlos un video de YouTube.
So we also have sent via email, and you'll have it also on your child's Google Classroom, a schedule. Each schedule is a little bit different for each grade level group, and it gives a daily schedule and a minimum day schedule. And we wanted to speak to one of the questions, and we'll let Sylvia translate first, and then we'll talk a little more detail about what the schedule means.
También tendrán todas las familias un horario, de las clases de cada grado, al igual a de todos los grados, incluyendo el día regular y los días mínimos. Esto se les mandará también a todas las familias a casa.
I forgot what my question, for the question, yes. So one of the questions we had that was emailed ahead was, will there be a break for our children? And we want to reassure you. Mrs. LeMay, would you like to speak to that, brain breaks and legal breaks?
Yes, well, I'm teaching first grade this year, and you'll get the schedule and you'll look at it's a block of time. And obviously, parents are thinking, oh, my child can't stay on that long. We for sure are going to be taking, just as if we were in the classroom, I would have my morning with my students, and then we'd move to the carpet. And then maybe we'd do some work at the carpet, and then we'd come back to our desk, and then maybe we'd go over to the calendar. So just as those natural transitions would happen in the classroom, we will build in natural transitions and breaks within our day too, because we understand that your children, it's not okay for them just to sit. So we will build in breaks just as if we were transitioning in the classroom.
Thank you.
Recibimos algunas preguntas sobre si los alumnos tendrían algún descanso o recreo durante el día o si van a tener que estar enfrente de la computadora por todo el día de clases. La maestra LeMay explica cómo los alumnos en un día regular en la escuela tendrían el grupo junto, serían transiciones entre ir a la carpeta, a diferentes lugares del salón, y harán lo mismo durante este tiempo de educación virtual, e incluirán descansos y tiempos para que los alumnos se muevan y no estén sentados todo el tiempo nada más frente a la computadora.
Bathroom breaks.
Igual para ir al baño, etc.
We understand, we know children and we know how hard it is for them to sit in front of a screen, right, Ishim? How did you do last spring when we had distance learning?
It was okay, it's just that sometimes the computer would not be working, like the microphone. It would be stopping, and sometimes my teacher would ask, like, on the questions, and I had to answer, but I couldn't because of the microphone.
So we're working hard to get all the Chromebooks in good shape. We actually, if the teachers are going to be working from home, they have to prove to us that the internet's a strong connection so that the images come through well, and so that should be better. We didn't have that kind of stuff organized before. So thank you for sharing that, honey.
And one of the fun things I did in summer school, when I taught summer school this year, was I led my kids through yoga. And we would do, one day we'd do a little bit of yoga, and then the next day we would do some physical activity. There's a lot of YouTube things that you can follow along with, and the kids really enjoyed that.
La maestra explica que algunas de las actividades que hizo ella con sus alumnos durante este verano fue practicar clases de yoga por medio de igual virtualmente, y eso ayudaba a los alumnos a moverse, a descansar y para transicionar a la siguiente actividad.
Ishim, do you feel comfortable to say what you said in Spanish? Con los problemas de la computadora?
Que cuando yo estaba en mi computadora, algunas veces que el micrófono no le sirve bien, y la computadora también.
Sí, y estamos trabajando bien duros para arreglar todos estos problemas para que los niños tengan una mejor situación. So, gracias y siempre.
Y tenemos lugares de apoyo, por ejemplo, por el departamento de IT Support, donde los alumnos pueden o las familias pueden mandar un correo electrónico para que se les componga si hay algo que no está funcionando correctamente con su computadora.
Frida, did you have any questions for us?
No.
How was virtual learning for you last spring?
It was good. Like she said, for some people it was that their microphone was stuck, and for my computer it's been working well, but my microphone doesn't get stuck because I don't really use my computer because it doesn't let me in, but the school computer it does. So that's why I'm happy that the school gave us our computers because they work much better.
Awesome, yes.
It's great to hear.
About the art class.
And this year in class, us people that are in Gablin Hills, we have some friends in HDLA and we're not really able to see them because we have separate classes. But we still have art class, and that art class we share with one class from HDLA. And that's what I'm happy about because I can see one of my friends from HDLA. And it's really good to be able to see her again.
Yeah, that's so sweet. Thank you for
That is
sharing
great to be
that.
able to continue seeing your friends.
Yeah. So we have a few more, well, we wanted you to hear a little bit about intervention. Mrs. Soboslavsky, would you share a little bit about the plan for intervention?
Okay. For intervention, we've been working very hard all summer, well, all the teachers really have, taking different trainings and whatnot, but we were working with the Orton Gillingham program and PAF, and what that is a phonics program, and for each class, we can break up the group into smaller groups. So I worked with Miss LeMay last year, and she took a small group, I had a small group, my instructional aides had a small group. That way we can get some really focused teaching to get the students up to where they need to be. And we are going to be working with our instructional aides and getting them trained, and we have a lot of different programs, so they're not just sitting there looking at flashcards the whole time. So that's one thing that I've done is we worked a lot, and this has just been a wonderful opportunity to work with people from other schools, because we put a question out there, how are you gonna do this? And I've met a lot of people this summer that I didn't know as well from the other schools.
That's neat.
La señora Soboslavsky es una de las maestras de intervención al lado de la maestra Yolanda Parra, y nos platicaba un poco sobre el programa y de cómo consistirá. Han estado entrenando ellas han estado aprendiendo, y al igual que entrenando a las ayudantas de la escuela para poder ayudar a los alumnos en las aulas. Por ejemplo, ella estuvo trabajando con la maestra LeMay en el pasado, y la maestra LeMay corría un grupo usando Orton Gillingham, el programa OPAF, que es un programa basado en fonética. Ella tenía un grupo pequeño, la maestra Soboslavsky tenía otro grupo, al igual que las ayudantas en el salón, para así poder apoyar a los alumnos y lograr ayudarlos apoyarlos a que logren las metas que les tienen en cada grado. Así es que van a continuar. Sé que por medio de los horarios los hemos organizado para que las maestras puedan ayudar en todos los grados durante el tiempo de grupos pequeños. So I just added at the end that we have worked with our schedules for the grade levels to make sure that there is no overlapping, so that our intervention teachers can support the grades throughout the day without having to have conflicts of times.
And we're very fortunate to have beautiful intervention teachers who do a fabulous job with our kids, so we appreciate you so much. Somos muy afortunados de tener dos maestros maravillosos y apreciamos mucho su trabajo. Okay, a ver a las preguntas. Oh, let's see what the questions, I'm gonna go to the questions now, so we have time for everything you might want to know. The first question is, I'm wondering when we will learn who our children's teachers are and how they will log in for classes this week. I wanted to, I mentioned earlier, we have sent the teachers today, worked hard to get their Google Classroom messages out to every student to introduce themselves and to invite them to the Google Classroom. That happened through the student email, as well as parents should have received an email also with that information. In fact, one of the moms who's here, Ishim's mom, received that information today.
Ahora vamos a pasar a las preguntas que hemos estado recibiendo. Y una de las preguntas es, ¿cómo sabremos quién es el maestro de mi hijo? Y sabremos cómo ingresar a la clase el primer día de clases. Primero, todos nuestros maestros hoy han estado trabajando en sus salones de Google virtuales y han mandado invitaciones a todos los alumnos. Así es que si ingresan a la computadora, revisan su correo electrónico, tendrán las invitaciones de los maestros allí.
And also we have, as I mentioned earlier, that in the material you get tomorrow, the teacher will be clearly included here in the middle, and the contact information and the Google Classroom codes.
And we'll also be reaching out to them to set up a conference.
Oh, yes, thank you for reminding me. And also there will be, as I mentioned in the letter, an email that I sent on Monday, they will be reaching out to you to set up conferences for the next 2 weeks. We'll have minimum days, and those minimum days are specifically designed for the teachers to be able to meet with you and talk about your child and see how you're doing, if there's anything you need, and to introduce themselves a little more. So look forward to that. It's coming soon.
Adicionalmente, como explicamos anteriormente, mañana todos los alumnos recibirán una carta de sus maestros donde incluye el nombre de los maestros, información de cómo contactarlos, al igual que el código para entrar por el programa de Google Meet. Todo esto está igualmente explicado en las hojas que mandaremos a casa de cómo cómo iniciar la computadora para entrar a las aulas virtuales.
Es un link, son hojas.
Será una link por medio de texto como han estado recibiendo. Y por último, los maestros han estado tratando de contactar a todos los padres para poner un horario para una conferencia la próxima semana. Así es que por favor estén atentos de sus teléfonos y contesten las llamadas, ya que nuestros maestros están hablando para hablar con ustedes, haciendo llamadas para hablar con ustedes y ver qué horario sería mejor para la conferencia y así poder tener un poco más de tiempo para platicar y conocer a los alumnos.
Another question is, in HDLA, the material pickup is tomorrow for the lower grades and middle school on Monday. And this parent is asking, how can my child be logged in on Monday when school's already started? So we have talked to the teachers, and they know that the child may need to excuse themselves to come to school for that material pickup. The first day is a lot about building relationships, and they'll have some free time, independent time to be working. So don't hesitate to have your child say, hey, we've got to go pick up my stuff. I'll be back logging on in a little while. This is an exception. It's not going to be a daily practice, and so we're all trying to get things to you as fast as we could, and we did not want to try to get everyone in tomorrow because there were just 1,000 families, and HDLA and Gablin Hills families know that traffic around our school is rough. So this was an attempt to try to make it easier on everyone. So if we only have the 6th graders coming for 1 hour, you should be able to get in and out quickly. And as for your younger child, if you are also worried about that child having to be taken away, the same goes for that. Your teacher will understand that all the child has to say is, hey, I've got to go to school to pick up materials with my mom. Well, I'll be back or see you in the morning. Okay?
La siguiente pregunta es, El día para recoger materiales escolares para los alumnos de la secundaria es el lunes de, parece que es 9:12 a 3 de la tarde. Si nuestros alumnos deben de estar en la clase a esa hora, ¿cómo podemos ir a recoger los materiales? Les explicamos que los maestros entienden, el primer día es día para crear relaciones, para conocerse uno al otro. Y si les avisan a los maestros que tienen que salir poquito para recoger sus materiales escolares, estará bien, se les hace esa excepción nada más por esta vez. Al igual que las maestras de los grados de primaria, también si les avisan sabrán. Lo que tratamos de hacer es que ustedes saben, tenemos como 1000 alumnos y el tráfico es pesado. Tratamos de hacer el proceso un poco más leve, haciéndolo en 2 días, y así el día que van los alumnos de secundaria no tienen que esperar tanto tiempo, pueden pasar, recoger sus cosas y salir y no estar formados por largas horas.
Gracias. Next question was about why do we have to have full distance learning? Why can't we go on a hybrid schedule? And the answer to that is simply the governor has set forth requirements for areas with COVID cases, and our county is one of those on the watch list. So we are in a mode of distance learning only, and the Board of Trustees will be looking at changing back to a hybrid model later in the fall. But for now, we're starting full speed in our distance learning, and in October, that decision will be discussed and made at a board meeting on October 13th. The earliest we would go back to hybrid, the hybrid schedule would be in November. But again, we're going to take everything week by week and make sure that we're not doing anything that wouldn't be the safest for the children and for our teachers and our team.
La siguiente pregunta es, ¿por qué no empezamos el año escolar con un modelo híbrido en vez de virtual? La respuesta aquí es que estamos en la lista de observación del Estado, entonces, por lo tanto, no podemos iniciar clases en las aulas como lo hacemos regularmente. Hasta que nuestro condado esté fuera de esa lista de observación, tendremos la oportunidad de regresar a la escuela. Por el momento, vamos a ver con el tiempo cómo continúa todo, y si seguimos mejor cuando estemos fuera de esa lista de observación, entonces podremos ver las opciones de regresar al aula. Por el momento seguiremos con la educación virtual.
And I guess we can add to this, the second question is, you will receive plenty of notification, 2 or 3 weeks at least, I'm sure, before we would switch back to hybrid. So stay checking your emails, your messages, read the board minutes, attend the board meeting virtually if you can. And we will be the first to let you know that we can come back together.
La siguiente pregunta es, ¿con cuánta anticipación nos dejarán saber que regresan los alumnos al aula si llega a ser ese el caso? Y la respuesta es que trataremos de notificarlos con el más tiempo que podamos, de acuerdo a cuando estemos en esa etapa. Por favor, estén atentos de sus correos electrónicos, de las juntas que se hacen aquí en el distrito escolar, y así podrán tener la mejor información para saber si hay cambios.
This is an important question that I know many parents in our school may have, is why are we only teaching in one language each week? And the reason we are doing that is, I can explain to you that I have almost 30 years of experience specifically in dual language and bilingual education. And there are many ways to do a bilingual dual immersion program. The children can learn in many different ways across the country. And the model that we have at HDLA is very good, but it's also very complex. And we would like to, of course, have both languages every day, but in order to give the best opportunity for the learning that we have for our students in each language, we decided that we would have one language per week. That allows each teacher team to teach thoroughly through their lessons and coordinate the lessons less often, because on a daily basis is how they usually do our school, and almost everyone at HDL already knows how hard that is. So we also know that when we come back in a hybrid model, we will only have languages for 2 days, apart. The model will be very similar to what we're doing now, of focusing on 2 languages. That's not only for the language learning, but also for safety and health of our staff and the rooms and the logistics of cleaning and having all 50 kids through the classrooms every week. So we will explain that more in detail as we go forward once we get to the hybrid. But for now, we made that decision that it's the best for everyone, and especially for the children.
La siguiente pregunta era ¿por qué los alumnos participarán en las clases toda una semana en un idioma, alternando cada semana en el idioma opuesto? Entonces la directora explicaba cómo hay diferentes programas, tiene ella bastante experiencia en los modelos de educación bilingüe, y nuestro programa en HDLA es muy complejo, ya que los alumnos llevan los 2 idiomas a diario. En esta situación hemos decidido que lo van a llevar cada idioma por la semana entera para que así los maestros tengan la oportunidad de enseñar detalladamente y darles a los alumnos oportunidad de aprender el contenido en ese idioma, y la siguiente semana sumergirse en el segundo idioma. Cuando estemos listos de regresar a la escuela, seguiremos el mismo modelo, ya que esto ayudará a que mantengamos a los maestros, a los alumnos, a las familias saludables y protegidas. Los alumnos se quedarán en un aula por la semana, y así no habrá tanto cambio y oportunidades de contagio. Entonces, el mismo modelo que tenemos ahorita seguirá y fluirá cuando regresemos a las aulas, y ese es el caso este año.
Thank you. The last question is, when will we pick up, will there be more materials distributed? And the answer is yes. We don't have all the textbooks that we needed to start with both languages at home. Normally, many of our students share materials, or they don't share them at the same time, but the way we cycle through the books, they have them available in whichever class they are in. But since we're not sharing anymore, we needed to order extra materials. So we wanted you to know that we will give you plenty of notice, and we'll try to make it as convenient as possible for you to come after school time to pick up material. So we don't have exact dates yet because it hasn't come in, but we will let you know as soon as we have a plan.
Sí, la última pregunta que tenemos es si habrá múltiples ocasiones para recoger materiales escolares. Y la respuesta es sí. Debido a lo que estamos pasando ahorita, ha habido retrasos en los materiales. No hemos recibido todo hasta ahorita. Entonces, mañana se distribuirá lo que tenemos, y en cuanto recibamos lo demás, les daremos, los notificaremos con anticipación para que así puedan recoger lo que no hemos recibido hasta el momento. So sí tendremos otras.
We want to thank you so much for listening, and we can't wait to see you in person soon. We wish you a wonderful start next week, and we will be here always to take care of you and answer your questions, so give us a call anytime. Thank you.
Les agradecemos y esperamos verlos la próxima semana. Por favor, les decimos que si tienen alguna pregunta, no duden en levantar el teléfono y hablarnos, mandarnos un correo, ya que estamos a su disposición, y así podemos aclararles todas las preguntas que tengan. So, no duden en llamarlos. Los esperamos la próxima semana.
Thank you.
Adiós.
Adiós.
All right, good evening, Lad Lane families. Welcome to the Lad Lane Town Hall. I am Mrs. Estoya, the principal at Lad Lane School. We'll start off with some introductions. This is my 18th year in education and sure to probably be the most exciting year. It's my 9th year at Lad Lane and I'm super excited to be there still. Lad Lane has my heart, and so we're hoping we can answer some questions for you tonight. I have some here. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to call in and you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Maylani Mailer, the assistant principal at Lad Lane, and I have been in education for 20 years. And as Janine said, this is one of the most exciting and adventurous years yet. I'm looking forward to meeting you and your students online and just working with all the families. Welcome to Lad Lane.
Hi, I am Priscilla Carmichael, second grade teacher. I've been at Lad Lane for almost 15 years. I've been in the district for 24. I'm super excited about the year. It's going to be challenging but fun, and I'm looking forward to answering any questions you might have.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Fowles. I'm a 5th grade teacher. I've been at Lad Lane for quite a long time, not sure how many years. I've been a teacher for about 15 years. And I am looking forward to this year. There are going to be really unique things that we can do now that we are online that we maybe wouldn't have been able to do before. So there are a lot of positives that we can look at for this year, and we're all excited for it. So definitely call in and let us know if you have any questions. We'd be happy to answer them.
All right, so I do have some questions that were emailed into the COVID concerns. So the first one is, if my child has a dentist or doctor appointment already scheduled for next week, how do I excuse her from class for this appointment? So just like when we are in regular school, we will be taking attendance twice a day. We'll be taking attendance in the AM and also the PM. So if your child is going to miss class, we're asking that you call in the office like you normally would to excuse your child for either being ill, out of town, dentist, doctor's appointment, things like that. And if you can't call in, you can always email our amazing secretary, Amy Bies, and her email is abies, B-I-E-S, @HESD.org. So just let us know. We want to know where your kiddos are. We worry about them when they don't show up in class. And so we definitely want to know if they're not going to be in class for the day. All right, do you want to read the second question?
And another question is, we have 3 full-time students, which includes 1 college student that will be using Zoom at the same time, which creates an enormous issue with freezing and lagging. And we understand that, so we wanted to offer, Hollister School District is offering hotspots to families who need them. Just please call the Lad Lane office and reserve a hotspot to help you with any internet issues.
I could add something to this. I live in the country and have issues with internet as well. And so we have our internet and we also have a hotspot so that way when the 2 girls are on it, hopefully both of them will be working.
Always nice to have a backup.
Yes.
So if you're struggling with any of that, like Mrs. Mailer said, just give us a call and we will do our best to get you a hotspot. So this question is, we kind of, it was near and dear to our heart. We got a question about picture day. Will we do pictures this year? And, you know, as long as we're on distance learning, we won't be doing pictures in a traditional sense, like we would normally do. But we've already been kind of brainstorming just this evening about maybe some other options that we could do. We definitely want to capture those cute little smiles of your kiddos, and so we'll have to be creative on how we get some pictures of them. And also, just to add to the picture piece, you know, if you're taking pictures of your kids at home while they're doing distance learning, we would love to see them. Go ahead and you can email them in to us. And we got some pictures last year and they were very sweet.
Yeah.
And Dojo allows pictures to be taken by the kids, so that's one of our communications, so it might be something that they can use too.
Yeah, do you want to talk about Dojo for a minute?
Yeah, Dojo is a program that we're using. It's a communication program that allows the teachers and parents to be able to communicate. Has 35 different languages, so language is not a barrier for it, and it's just a great way to get out information and get information, and it's extremely easy to use. So when your teachers send out that invitation, just connect and say yes, and you'll get all kinds of information from your teachers, and you can have a communication with them no matter what language you speak.
Yeah, and as a parent of 3 kids in the Hollister School District, it also allows me to communicate really easily with parents. It's almost like, or with teachers, with my kids' teachers. So it's almost like a text message. And so it makes for communicating very, very simple. And so all of the teachers at Loud Lane will be setting up dojo accounts. So if you haven't heard yet about your teacher's dojo account, make sure you reach out to them and find out how you can get on that list. All right. So the next question is, I think maybe it came from a teacher, I'm not quite sure, but it's just asking that when and if we're allowed to go back to school, will the board be making this decision solely, or will teachers have input? And so what I wanted to talk about here is that the district did put together a committee last spring to talk about coming back to school options. And on that committee were teachers, administrators, classified staff, no board members. And I was on that committee, and so we talked about all the scenarios that could possibly happen, and we hashed many things out. We sent out many, I think 4 or 5 parent surveys. We reviewed the data from those surveys. And then what we did is we came up with a plan for returning to school and presented that to the board, and the board agreed with our plan. So I'm assuming the same process will take place when we need to make another decision about coming back to school or staying on distance learning when that time comes. All right.
And another question that came up is from a parent. I reviewed the upcoming distant learning schedule and I have concerns. My concern is this is a full schedule to have to make sure my child is listening and following the whole day. I also have another child in middle school who will need my assistance as well. Why couldn't there have been a hybrid distance learning program? 3 days or half days would have been ideal. Then families wouldn't be so stressed, and not to mention running errands such as grocery shopping, doctor's appointments, or even work. Now we need to worry about them missing school because I cannot leave my children at home. And thank you for this question. We know that this is a very unique year, and we're starting 100% distance learning. So we really want to set the stage for a successful school year, a successful learning environment. And in all the surveys that we gave, a lot of parents were asking for that structure, and they want that consistency for their students. And so we've pretty much with the schedules created a mock traditional school day, and students will appreciate the routine and the daily schedules. So it's really to benefit our children.
And then if I can add to that, there's a lot of data out there that shows that structure is really, really good for kids, and they actually do want it, they crave it, and they love it. It makes them feel comfort. So during these times that are quite unusual, it will provide them with a sense of normalcy and routine in their day. And also, when you look at the schedule as a whole, it looks like the children are going to be online continuously. The way that we made up the schedule was so that the teacher would always be there to teach and to guide them and to give them support. There are going to be times when they might be working on a paper on the side, or they're going to be doing something else. And when we see that the children are having a hard time, we can gauge that as teachers, and we know what to do, whether they need support, or whether we need to take a stretch break, or whether we need to take some other kind of break, and we're going to be there for them. So that is why it looks like we're online a lot, is because we teachers are going to be there to support them, and so that you as parents do not have to homeschool your children. We're just going to be there to help them.
And that communication between the teachers and the parents and the teachers and the students is important, and making that bond with those students and with the parents, and letting them understand that we are there for your child, and we all have the same goal to make sure that they get the best education that we can give them. So and that is our goal. So, but that open communication, if you're seeing something, but notice that we as teachers in class, when we read our students, we know when they need that break and we give it to them. So just because it looks like a long day, there is breaks that are set in there that we read our students to find them.
Oh, and one more thing, you had said, we had said as teachers that we have both gotten dojos about questions from parents if they need to sit next to their child while they're online. Again, that's why the schedule is the way it is. You should not have to sit next to your child online. We will be there for them.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you guys brought up the structure and the schedule and the routine, and that's something that we talked about at the last week at a town hall that was for the district, is just how important that schedule is for kids. And I really think as a parent of young children, but also as an administrator and an educator, it's really important that families treat distance learning like school. So for what I mean by that is, in my home, we're treating going back to school just like we have the past, 7, 8 years that my kids have been in school. They've already started going to bed earlier, they're waking up earlier, they have a set time where they need to be eating their breakfast, they need to then get dressed, brush their teeth, make their bed, do their morning routine, so that they are ready for school at 9 or 9:15 when their class starts. And during the day when they're at school, they're not gonna have any other electronics, because if they were at school, they wouldn't have electronics, and I mean game electronics. So at our house, we're treating it like school, and so I'm actually really glad that they're gonna have that structure and it's gonna feel like school for them. So I really hope that other families also start instilling those schedules soon for their kiddos. Yeah. All right, and then we did have a question about Monday meal day. So yes, at Lad Lane, you can still pick up meals for the entire week every Monday from 9 to 1. They're passing out the weekly meals. That's going to continue. And then there is an evening pickup for meals at Aro Hardin and Sunny Slope. That's from 3 to 7. So if you work and you can't come to Lad Lane from 9 to 1, you have the option to come in the evening after work and pick up from Sunny Slope or Aro Hardin. So we hope that helps you out as well. That was the last of our questions here. I don't know if we've had any phone calls, but I did want to just go over a couple things since we have a little bit more time. You should have received in the mail and also an email with a letter from Mrs. Mailer and I, really explaining everything, explaining how the attendance is going to work, explaining the textbook pickup that's going to take place tomorrow. You also by now have probably heard from your teacher, but if you haven't, make sure you're checking your phone, you're answering your phone, checking your emails, because our teachers at Lad Lane are working feverishly to get a hold of everybody, and sometimes they call and leave messages or mailbox is full. So just try to help them out by responding to them. And if for some reason by tomorrow afternoon you have not found out who your teacher is, we will be posting classes like we normally do, but we will be posting them down by the flagpole. So if you come to campus, you'll know that down by the flagpole we'll have the class lists available for you to look at. Tomorrow from 10 to 6, we are passing out the textbooks, and it's in, there's designated times based on your child's last name, the first letter of their last name. So that also came home in the letter and was also emailed out. It's also on our website. So if you have any question about that, you can take a peek at our website and find out when. And we are doing it till 6 o'clock because I do realize that sometimes people work. So if your last name starts with an A and you can't come at 10, of course, please come in the evening when you get off work to pick up the textbooks.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
We also have been trying to get our supplies in, and so some teachers are passing out their supplies with the textbooks or the workbooks, and other teachers will be contacting you to set up an additional time for picking up their supplies, because there were a lot of orders going in all at the same time. So
Yeah, and
we're gonna try our best to get all those in as quickly as we can.
Yeah, and many of the supplies we ordered were on back order. Because everybody's, of course, ordering crayons and pencils and glue and scissors right now. So we will, teachers will be reaching out. If you don't get supplies like that tomorrow, your teacher will be reaching out to give you some supplies probably sometime next week.
Yes.
Also on the website, if you didn't see it, is it looks like this, and this is our bell schedule for all of the grades. So if you look at this, you'll notice that TK, K, and grade
I'm gonna
1
let them answer
start
that,
at 8:15, and 2nd and 3rd start at 9, and 4th, 5th, and 6th start at 9:15. And we staggered those times on purpose so that if you have multiple children at home and your 6th grader needs to help a younger child get on, or 5th grader needs to help a 2nd grader get on, they get on at different times so that hopefully the older children can help out with that. And I think we're getting a question.
We
So.
do have a question.
All right, what's our
For
question?
those parents that are out there, I'm gonna read it to you so you don't have to read it right when it's happening.
Okay.
So a parent who has a transitional kindergarten student says, I got an email from my child's teacher today saying that as a parent, I need to sit with my child while the child is on distance learning to keep them focused. So that's kind of doesn't fit with what you just said.
Right.
Interesting.
And the parent saying, my child's 4, 8:15 to 1:15 seems like a really long time. Talk a little bit about what it's gonna be like for TK students.
Right. So I will say that it's probably going to, the day and the schedule is going to vary based on grade. So for 5th grade, 4th grade, probably even down to 2nd grade, they'll probably be pretty independent. However, I do realize that 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds are going to need some more support. I don't know that you have to sit there the entire time with the child. But, you know, being in earshot, I think as a parent, I'd want to be listening to what the teacher has to say to the child, because if she does send him off or her off into an independent project, we all know how 4 and 5-year-olds are. You're going to ask them, what are you supposed to be doing? And they're going to say, I don't know. So definitely with the little guys, I think definitely being within an earshot. I don't know that you need to sit directly right next to them the entire time, but definitely available for support. But, you know, like we mentioned before, our TK and kinder teachers are also very, very, very good, and they're going to be able to read when they read the children and when they feel like the class needs a break, just like they would in a classroom setting. I mean, we do this all the time. Okay guys, time out, we need to take a break, let's do a go noodle, or let's do some yoga, let's do some stretching, let's walk around the kitchen. So I have all faith in all of our lower grade teachers that they are going to make this as easy as possible for the parents and less, you know, not stressful for the kids for sure, so.
Yes, and during distance learning last school year, Mrs. Estoya and I had the opportunity to join the classes. And the TK students, they would break out sometimes into 2 small groups, but they were very engaged. The teachers used a lot of whiteboards and a lot of interactive motions with their hands, a lot of the whole brain teaching where they were doing a lot of moving while they were learning, so that really helped as well.
And singing, they did a lot of singing, and so just like they would run their regular TK classroom, that's how they're gonna run the distance learning. So I hope that answers your question. Do we have another one?
We did get another one, and it's from a 6th grade parent,
Okay.
a parent of a 6th grader, and it says, I just looked at the 6th grade schedule, and the schedule has English and it has math, but it doesn't have other subjects.
Right.
Can you
Yep.
talk a little bit about
Can you
that?
talk about mystery science?
Yeah, so I can answer that. The schedule is based on the core subjects because we want to make sure that your child knows how to read and write and do math. Those have always been core subjects, meaning that those have been our primary focus. Anything else that we're going to be adding, we're going to be integrating it into another subject. For example, I'm a 5th grade teacher. In my writing, I'm integrating history and I'm also integrating science. This is something that the 6th grade teacher will be doing as well. In fact, I was just having a PLC meeting with her and we were discussing how we were going to be weaving that into our curriculum so that students still will receive information for science and history. And we also weave it in other ways when we're reading stories, through literature circles. And so the other thing that we have is Mystery Science. And so Mystery Science is a completely online program that the PTO purchased last year, which is a wonderful, wonderful site. I love it. And as teachers, we can just send a quick link into our Google Classroom, and it allows the students to click on that link and watch a video. And they're able to watch that video, and there are activities that go along with it. So we may or may not be able to do those activities with the students. It just depends on what they are. But they also show examples of the activities and what the results are if you're not able to do them. And they're really, really fun. And my students love Mystery Science. And so it's something that they're looking forward to. The lower grades haven't had it before, and I'll bet you your kids will absolutely love it. So they still will be getting, those extra subjects
And
mixed
I
in there.
can add a little bit to that with the benchmark advance that we have, science and social studies are embedded within the program. So they are getting it, even though it doesn't say it, they are getting the standards that they need.
And you'll notice on the schedule, there's a lot of small group time. So while the teacher is working with a small group, those other kids might be working on Mystery Science or history or other subjects also during that time. So it definitely will still be there, embedded into those core subjects that are really important.
And you all thought you were gonna leave early, but our Lad Lane families are just stepping it up. I had another call, another message.
Good, thank
It
you.
is, are we picking up things for students tomorrow? Cause I think I got a message saying we're not, but tonight I heard we are. My child's a second grader. Are we picking up? What time are we picking? So you just wanna run through that one more time? This
Yeah.
parent came in a little late today.
Yeah. So for second grade, they are picking up their curriculum, their textbooks, and there's a little packet within there. You'll be picking that up tomorrow. For our supplies, because our supplies didn't come in and they were back ordered, your teacher will be getting a hold of you and you will be picking it up at a scheduled time that your teacher set. So like
Probably next week.
Next week sometime, you'll be picking up supplies, pencils, crayons, things that they're gonna need. But for Monday, all they need is a pencil and everything will be just fine.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, it's in the letter that we sent home. We sent it home via email, also in the mail, like folded up in your mailbox, along with this little flyer that tells you about textbook pickup just tomorrow. And like I said, it's by first letter of your last name for your time to pick up tomorrow. So yes, everybody should come get textbooks tomorrow at Lad Lane. And I also wanted to add that we are asking for grace. We have a lot of families that'll be coming to Lad Lane tomorrow, and we have a plan, and we think it's gonna go smooth and great, but we all know how that happens. So we are gonna set up on two sides of campus. So we have a bus drive-through where the buses normally come. We'll be handing out textbooks there, all grade levels. And then also on the parent drop-off and pickup side by the kindergarten, we'll also be handing out all grade levels on that side. So you pick a driveway, whichever line is shorter, and you will get your textbooks for your children. So if you come and you need textbooks for second grade and fourth grade, just pick a line and get in there, and we'll be able to give you both the second grade material as well as the fourth grade material. So we're hoping that it runs smoothly, but please have grace with us during this process. There's probably 700 families gonna show up tomorrow, and that's why we did schedule it out by last name, hoping to spread it out a little bit. So.
There's one more question.
Okay.
It's my question and I ask it every time. Because you have a lot of families watching and in a normal year, they would just walk up to the school and talk to people. So I would just like to hear from each person. What's your final message to these folks? School starts in basically 4 days. What do you want them to know? What do you want them to do? What's your message to these folks?
If I could start with that, I've been thinking about this the whole time that I wanted to say, our kids, they feed off of your energy. And so as teachers, as educators, we're always trying to stay positive. We're always trying to look on the bright side. We don't want to let them see us down. And it's the same thing with you. So remember that change is scary. There are a lot of parents who are, worried about what's gonna happen on Monday as we start the school year, and that's okay, There is going to be a little bit of, oh my gosh, how are we gonna do this? But you will get used to it, it will become a routine, and things will become easier. All things are scary when they are new, so just remember to stay positive, and we are here to help you, okay?
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. I think that children definitely feed off of our energy, and parents' energies, the adults that they're around. And so during this time, I really want the families to know that the staff at Lad Lane is phenomenal. Our custodians, our office staff, our teachers, our paras, our IAs, you name it, and they are there for your kids, and they want what's best for your kids, and we will do anything to help you, within reason, anything we can do to help you. Sometimes things happen, like the supplies aren't in, we couldn't really prevent that, but call us if you get stuck with something, if you can't get your kid on, if your internet's down that day. Things are gonna happen. We're gonna run into roadblocks, but we need to stick together as a team for the sake of our kids, because your kids are our kids and we want what's best for them for sure. So just please don't feel bad reaching out. I've had a couple emails this week, like, I know you're super busy, but don't feel bad. Just email us, call us, and we will get back to you in a timely manner, and hopefully be able to help you and answer your questions.
And at Lad Lane, we're just one big family. We always have been, and we want to keep that up, continue building relationships and community. So please feel free to reach out to your teachers, reach out to us. We want to connect with the students as well, so you'll see us sometimes on a Google Meet or visiting somehow. But that's just really important, is building those relationships. And we also want your children to still enjoy and love school. So keep that up, keeping up that positive attitude. We want them to continue to read. Please, if you need books, Miss Kathy, our librarian, has a system set up through Clever where she will be eventually checking books out, sanitizing them, and then rechecking them out. So we want you to have those books at your fingertips, and we want your children to be reading. And we just also had a student that made this little sign, and we wanted to share that with you too. That grace piece.
Yes, yes, we would appreciate that.
And I concur with all of my colleagues here, but I also, the learning experience, meeting challenges, and having that positive attitude and being that lifelong learner and being flexible and understanding that things may not go smoothly to start off, but we're gonna get through this, and it's gonna be a positive adventure, and it is an adventure. So think about school. This is something that no one has ever had to deal with before, and it's okay. That this is going to be fun and exciting, and we're still out to give your child the absolute best education that they can have and meet their needs, and know that communication that we're a team, and that communication is super important. So reach out to us and talk to us, but go Leopards, because we're there for you.
We got this. Thank you.
High five.